Welcome to the Tennis Warehouse racket review of the Pure Drive 98 2025. The most compact member of the Pure Drive family and formerly known as PS, the Pure Drive 98 now comes with a 16x20 string pattern and features a thinner beam for enhanced feel. Comfort and feel has also been updated with the addition of Flax 2.0, and an updated layer helps with the stability, off-center hits, and added control. Coming in at just under 11.5 ounces strung, this will be a must-try for experienced players looking for an ideal blend of speed, power, spin, and precision. I have a long history of loving this beautiful blue line of rackets, and I was so excited to try this new Pure Drive 98 with the promise of the 16x20 string pattern and that updated frame beam shape. I instantly fell in love with this racket. It is one that I have been craving because I want a little bit more control from my Pure Drive, but I still love that put away power, and I still love the easy feel of this one. I found really great depth, good access to spin. I could change the direction of the ball. I could hit angles. Everything was gelling with me during this play test. I had the opportunity to add some weight and beef up the swing weight a little bit just so it can match what I like in a racket. I've played with it with a bunch of string setups, and I am loving it. On serves, I still find tons of power, but I still can hit very controlled, precise spots on the court, and returns are where usually I either hit or miss with these rackets, and I love that added control, the 16x20 string patterns, everything I want in this racket. I'm not quite yet ready to make a decision for my next racket of choice, but I have been telling everyone I have top 3, and this is definitely going in there along with another one of the Pure Drives that are coming out. So super obsessed with this racket. For sure, it's in my bag right now as I speak. It's going to be every time I get on the court, and still loving it.
I really enjoyed using the Pure Drive 98. From the baseline, the ground strokes were amazing. At first, a lot of my balls were flying through, but I decreased my plow through and increased my racket head speed, and it was golden. I was able to open up the court, make my opponent move a bit more, and I really liked it. The approach shot that I was hitting was absolutely phenomenal. I don't have the best approach shot. I have a tendency of hitting it out, but with this racket, they were all landing in at the very last second with a lot of spin, and I really did like that as well. At the net, the volleys, you get a lot of feel, it's very crisp, a lot of accuracy as well, but after a really good dub session or like hitting a lot of volleys just during hitting sessions, I could feel a little bit of wrist fatigue. I could really feel it in my wrist and even sometimes the elbow. I would use a softer string. I've strung it at different tensions throughout the play test. I've even added a leather grip on here, so that probably didn't help either. But then at the serves, I was hitting amazing serves. A lot of my balls, especially flat serves, were hitting the service court and then at the backboard. So I was hitting a lot of aces, even the kick serves were really kicking. So really good frame. I have a few friends in mind who I'll be recommending this to, and they are big Pure Drive fans. So anyone who's looking for that Pure Drive power with that extra bit of control, kind of like the Pure Strike control with the Pure Drive power, definitely look at the Pure Drive 98.
Like Michelle, I have a long history with the Pure Drive, and I have to say, with this update, the first thing I noticed actually was the cosmetic. I really love this combination of blue, and on the 98, you get those fun hits of red up there at the grommet, so great looking racket on the wall. When I got out on court, I found a really familiar power level that I get from the Pure Drive, so that's always appreciated. There is a bit more control off the ground than it is with the standard Pure Drive for me. Still, I didn't find it to be the most precise racket, and lately I've been playing with a little bit more control-oriented racket, so initially I was having to adjust my targeting. I was finding that easy depth and the easy power that you would get from the Pure Drive, but that also meant that I was missing slightly long or slightly wide, so I did think that I needed to be a little bit more conservative with my targets. As I move forward, I was really surprised. I think the volleys were the standout shot for me. Not being the strongest volleyer, I really appreciated the power level as well as the stability. So when I was not making the most confident shots, I was still getting a good response and getting better depth than I would from probably a more flexible racket. So I really appreciated it there. And like always, Pure Drives are a great serving racket for me. I was getting this racket over my head well, is on serves as well as overheads, and I think hitting more powerful, more effective overheads and serves. The one downside for me was I have become more accustomed to more flexible rackets. So after long hitting sessions, I did feel that this racket was a bit firmer for me. So like Munish, I think I'd opt for a softer string setup. Overall, I think Pure Drive fans are going to really find this to be a great racket. It offers the signature power that you're going to get from a Pure Drive with slightly more control.
The previous generations of the Pure Drive 98 and VS have been one of my favorite 98 square inch rackets to date, so really excited to get on the court, and I was lucky enough to play test this Pure Drive 98 side by side with the standard Pure Drive, so I took it through all the different strokes, and what I found overall is that this Pure Drive 98 has a lot of those Pure Drive qualities that I love, with just a little bit more control and maybe a little bit less maneuverability and a little bit more stability. But I really liked was the precision for me at the baseline. I could be really aggressive with my shots and go for smaller targets and get rewarded with a riskier shot. Where I liked this racket the most, surprised me, was actually up at net when I was comparing all the different strokes. For the standard Pure Drive, I find myself up at net just punching the volley deep. But with this Pure Drive 98, I was able to mix it up and hit a variety of volleys to keep my opponent guessing. Another shot I really love to hit with this racket was the return of serve. Now that's my favorite shot to hit, but I feel like I really shined with this racket. With that little bit extra control, I was able to go after my shots without any fear of overhitting and start the point off on the offense. Now, compared to previous generations, I found like they play pretty similarly, maybe a small tweak in feel, maybe a little bit softer, but overall still a pretty firm playing frame. And I did like that extra cross string on this update. Overall though, I had a really hard time choosing which racket I preferred more between the 98 and the standard. And I like that I actually had the ability that if I wanted a little bit more power, I could pick up the standard. But if I needed that extra control, I could pick up this Pure Drive 98 and have no issues. I think that this Pure Drive 98 will still sit in one of my top favorite 98 square inch rackets.
We play tested this racket with a variety of different strength setups. Today you're gonna see us hitting with Babolat RPM Blast, Babolat RPM Team, and Babolat RPM Hurricane, all at 52 pounds. To learn more about this racket and many others, please visit us at Tennis Warehouse, Tennis Warehouse Europe, or Tennis Only.